Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Casper, the boy diviner, and today I wanted to talk about my July recap. So usually my recaps are full of tarot stuff, and this time maybe just not so much. I'll start with talking about decks that I used this month, decks that I received this month, decks that I bought this month, and decks that are on my wish list this month. After that, I'll go on to books and other things that I've got, or bits and pieces of things I'm interested in. And yeah, that's about it. Before we go too deep, I wanted to thank my coffee supporters this month. Thank you so much, Mistress Ray. You're always so generous and giving me that kind of little... You just put a smile to my face, and thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate it. I'm just not the best at texting or anything just because of the situation I'm in right now. To anyone who's like DMing me on Instagram, I just sometimes don't have the energy. Then sometimes I get questions from people new to the tarot. To be honest, even though I appreciate your questions, I don't feel like you should be asking me because I'm not like a gatekeeper for tarot. Do whatever you want, you don't have to ask me if you can use a deck this way or that way, because honestly, I don't know. You should try out and see how it feels for you. Am I someone who can give advice on a specific deck? I have so many, and it's hard for me to connect to every single one as well. So I try, but sometimes I don't have answers for you. But thank you for your questions, and thanks for engaging me. I just don't feel like I have the energy to always engage all the time. Thank you to Melissa as well. Melissa, thank you so much for your coffee support. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Sharon. You have given me so much. Sharon, you have basically gave me enough to actually buy a deck on my wish list. And I'm still thinking about it. I'm still holding on to which one I want to actually spend it on. But yeah, thank you so much, Sharon. I appreciate you. I appreciate you supporting me, and I appreciate you resonating with what I'm doing here on YouTube. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Mistress Ray. Thank you, Sharon. There are decks that I use this month, and they include the Lubanko Tarot and also the Prisma Visions Tarot. So these two were really kind of my mainstays. But to be very honest, I haven't been doing much tarot work. I feel like there's a bit of a blocker with my energy. I've really been complaining about my job for the past few months, and things have not changed. I also started using more geomancy, which is really interesting because my first geomantic reading was false. It was bad. I was completely off. So that turned me off from geomancy, but now I'm back at it again. And the recent reading I did was quite real, quite true, because what I did was to read about my Hecateon and whether it would arrive or not. And it was telling me that it was in Carcer, which is the prison. So I kind of felt like it would come. It was just going to take a longer time. And later on in the video, I'm going to show you my Hecateon because it finally arrived. Okay, apart from those two decks that I used, let's talk about decks that I received this month. And the one that I received is the Transient Light Tarot. And a lot of people are loving this deck. I'm seeing this on my feed again and again and again. But somehow I haven't been able to really connect with this deck as of yet. I have looked through the images. I don't know what about it. It's a beautiful deck. I enjoy the imagery, and that's why I bought it in the first place. But there feels like there's some sort of blocker, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, but I already did a full walkthrough of this deck, and you can check it out on my channel. But here's some cards to show you the style of the deck. Very simple, very minimalist, things that I usually like. And I kind of do like the imagery, of course. I do like the art. I don't know if there's something about the text being a bit blurred. I don't know. I talked about that in my walkthrough as well. Or maybe, even though I like simplistic images, I don't seem to work well with them. So I don't know. Maybe that's why. Okay, moving on. This was the deck that I received, and I hope I can work with it more. I hope I'm able to connect better with this deck. And we'll see. We'll try our best. Apart from that, maybe next month, I'm also hoping to use a bit more of the Tabula Mundi Minima. This is the small one I have. Again, with the Cosma Visions Oracle, I'm hoping to use this a bit more because I have not used it much since I got it. I think the learning curve is a bit much. I tried, but it's not 100%. And I would love to do more geomancy, but doing a geomantic reading for every day doesn't feel right. It's not. I don't think it's the kind of divination for that. I kind of want to use geomancy more for yes/no questions or things about, that are more practical in a way. I don't know how advisory is. Plus, I have not learned the astrology part. I have not done the astrology housing. I've only done with the judge and the witnesses, which I think is more than enough. I don't know if I want to have the extra layers from the astrology. Let me know if you're studying geomancy as well. Let me know if you're interested in seeing how a geomancy reading can be done with whatever you have, or with the coins from the geomantic visions. I have not actually used those coins to form a geomantic reading. I've been using the traditional pen and paper drawing dots. So maybe it's time for me to explore different ways of casting a chart. Okay, let's talk about the decks that I bought this month. I already mentioned this, that I'm so overwhelmed with decks. So basically, because the hackathon it's been shipped for 14 weeks and have not received it, I decided, me and my friend Michael decided to actually reach out to XSR to ask about it. And XSR was very generous. They were like, okay, it's probably lost since it's been 14 weeks, more than the expected delivery time of 12 weeks. So we can give you a refund. So they gave me a refund. I was thinking, I still want to work with Hecate. This might just feel like it's not meant to be. Maybe Hecate feels like it's not a good time for me to work with her. So I thought, never mind, let's go more general. There is a PGM Tarot campaign on Indiegogo, and I decided, why not? Let's go for that. Let's dive in more into the PGM. I've been interested in the PGM for quite a while. I'm trying to incorporate some of the practices in my daily life. Whether it's successful or not is still up in the air. Like today, while talking about this, I forgot to do the morning prayer, but we'll see. We'll take it easy. So I decided to invest in the PGM Tarot since I got my money back from XSR for the hackathon, and then the hackathon arrived. So we are going to contact XSR and try to return the money to them since we got it in the end. But I decided I shall still continue my pledge for the PGM Tarot, and I hope that one can really help me connect more with the Greek gods and goddesses. That was the only deck that I bought in July, but I was actually also thinking about again buying the Alchemical Tarot of the Magnum Opus. This has been on my wishlist for about a year and a half, so it's like, when am I gonna get it? I don't know, but I kind of still want it. I want to try. At the same time, my experiences with the Transient Light Tarot, simplistic, minimalist images, didn't seem to work too well. But I feel like Alchemical Tarot of the Magnum Opus has a bit of an alchemical background, which is quite interesting and intrigues me, So I might still get it, just not this month. It's still on my wishlist. I'm still holding on. New decks that entered my wishlist this month includes the Tarot for All Ages. I really like this deck. Sharon mentioned this, one of my commenters and subscribers, I guess, mentioned the Tarot for All Ages. This has been on my wishlist for a while, but I didn't bother to actually go take a look at some of the walkthroughs that are already on the net, and I really enjoy the gentle images. Yeah, it is so interesting. It is such an interesting deck, and I was so close to ordering it, but I held back a bit because I don't need it now, and I know that in August and September I probably will have received a lot of decks because I backed a few decks on Kickstarter. So I'm trying to hold back until maybe end of the year before I order anything more that will come immediately. But it's definitely one of the top in my wishlist right now because it's the mass market deck. It's easy to get and it's not expensive, and it's absolutely beautiful. Apart from the Tarot of All Ages, let's go into some of the indie decks that I've seen. Crimson Eye Tarot really intrigued me. It's a bizarre RWS reimagining that is on Kickstarter right now, and I really like the minimalist color palette. At the same time, I know usually it doesn't work well with me, but it's so bizarre, it's so weird. I can't help but to be intrigued by it. I feel like I want to get it, so I'm just holding back a bit. Of course, as usual, I need to make sure that I spend responsibly for my own life and what I aim to do, but it is one that is definitely on my wish list right now. The next one I want to talk about is Gentle Tarot by Marie in the Sky, and this is a beautiful gentle tarot deck. I mean, based on the name, it is a gentle deck, and that's at the same time, I feel like, while I like the imagery a lot, I have quite a lot of gentle decks. I already did a whole walkthrough of all my gentle decks before, and also I have the Bhutan Tarot. I have more gentle decks that are already here, like the Transient Light Tarot. I have so many new gentle decks, so that one is still on my wish list. Another gentle one that was on my wish list, I already spoke about it before, is the Future Ancestor Tarot. So I feel like I have so many gentle decks that are on my wish list and in my collection that maybe I should try to work with what I have first before making an impulsive purchase. If I do feel like I still need that the emptiness, that void to be filled, and I do have the extra cash, I think the Gentle Tarot would be the way to go. So that's all for tarot decks. If you are just interested in tarot decks, you can move on, or else now I'll go into some of the spiritual books that I ordered and am trying to read successfully or not successfully. The first book that I ordered and arrived was the Kinesic, is it Kinesic? I don't know. Kinesic, I don't know. Anyway, Kinesic Magic by Donald Tyson. So he actually wrote, I think he translated the 3 books of occult philosophy. So I feel like he's a pretty good writer. And this book is pretty interesting. There are figures that you can learn how to channel your magic. And I feel when I got this, I was feeling ambitious. I was feeling like I need to work more with my body. I need to feel more in my physical body, because when I do spiritual things, sometimes I don't feel much. I feel some things inside, I don't feel it enough outside. And I feel like some of these body postures and things like that are meant to replicate some of the other things that we need, or props that we need, like a wand, for example. I still love my wand. I don't really use it much. I love it a lot. Yeah, but I feel like when I got it, it feels overwhelming. It feels like I need to know a lot before I actually explore into this, so I have not read it yet. The next book I got was the Planetary Magic. I feel like this book is pretty good. A lot of it is actually reference material that is really hard to go through because you don't need it. So a lot of it actually is about the correspondences of the planets, which I think is a good reference. But working with it comes later in the book, and that part I have not gone through enough or much. I just feel like some of the props feel a bit scary, feel a bit overwhelming. So you can see up to here, this part is all the reference material. Then part 2, you start with the equipment that you need. Then I think part 3 is actually working with the planets. So if you guys really watched my channel for a while, I did have this book called 7 Spheres. I did not manage to finish what I set out to do, as usual, because of life. I changed my job. My job now drains me a lot more than before. It troubles me a lot more. I have colleagues following me here, so I don't know how much I can go into it, but I feel like I might have been like slightly depressed in the past few months, and I don't know, and I feel better now, but we'll see. So because of all that, I did not continue with my 7 spheres rituals, and buying this was just for me to supplement my knowledge about the planets with that book. So I probably, if I have to, I will follow that book's rituals. Maybe I'll supplement some with this book when I finally get into it. But then I stopped reading this book as well because I finally got my Hecateon. This is a rare book. And I'm so glad it's in my hands, and I understand why people are crazy over it. I don't think any of these rituals about Hecate or Hecate are actually grounded in like history. It's not from PGM, it's not from anything, at least I'm not aware of. It feels like a big book about that was very organic, that Jack Grill really came up with. He really organically went through and came up with these rites, and it feels so accessible and feels so magical. The only thing about it is it needs dedicated time. So there's like 9 days that you need to spend, at least with the initiation part, and you need to give your blood to the book to really create a bond. And because I'm afraid of bloodletting, I don't know how to get a lancet in Singapore to really diabetics, they have a lancet. So I want to buy one so that I can actually do the bloodletting, but it scares me a bit. I mean, I'm not used to doing such things with magic, and I'm not sure how difficult it is. But from what I have read so far, everything has been very accessible. I just don't know if I'm supposed to memorize the hymn before doing the rite, because that will complicate things a lot, or if I can just read from the book directly. I think he does give instructions on that. I'm not too sure. I think he says you can just read directly, so we'll see. There are things I need to prepare as well. So I don't know when I'll actually do the rites in this book, but I really hope that I find some time this year or next year to get this done, so I can have a better, closer working relationship with a deity. Because right now, even though I do feel called, I don't do much deity work. This is my favorite book of all time about magic, divine magic, about theurgy. But even these simple practices, I have trouble finding time and focus to actually get it done. And maybe it's just about priorities. There are a lot of distractions. I feel like when you have a lot of stress, you want to distract yourself. You do things that are fun, easier to do. So that's probably it. 2 other books that I got that I also are not about magic are The Kitchen God's Wife by Amy Tan. I actually like Amy Tan's writing. I studied Joy Luck Club when I was 15 years old, and I really enjoyed it. My whole class didn't seem to enjoy the book. I love the book. So I decided to get this one because this one is about gods and also about Chinese, American kind of culture and identity. And even though I'm Singaporean, there's always a block, right? Because China is the root, Chinese is the root, and and I'm trying to get to know my culture better, even though I am Singaporean, and I don't want to forget that as well. The other one I got was Know My Name by Chanel Miller, and her letter to her abuser was so powerful. I think back in 2016, it really resonated with me. Things have happened to me also, and that's why I wanted to read this book, because I wanted to feel empowered. I want to feel learn how she has grown. I want to see what has happened for her, and everything else. I find her an amazing writer, so that's something I also want to pick up and learn from. I don't feel like I write well. I want to express myself better. I want to be better spoken as well. I want to be more eloquent, and I feel like through everything she has gone through, there's a lot of things we can learn from Chanel Miller. So I can't wait to read this book, and it is like almost my top priority, apart from other books that I bought that relates to my career. So I don't know if you guys know what I'm doing right now. I am no longer a writer. That was my old job maybe like 6 months ago. I've actually gone to a new role. So there's a lot to pick up on. I just feel a bit stuck. I just feel like currently, because of a lot of changes in the workplace, I'm not able to actually learn or push myself into the direction I want to, and that's why it's incredibly frustrating for me. But hopefully things will change soon. Or else, I don't know what I can do. So it's been quite a rambly going through my books, but then I kind of just want to wrap it up by saying, luckily there is Genshin Impact because it's amazing. This month, the new release of content has come out. So if you guys don't play Genshin, don't start, because it's incredibly addictive. I spend money on this game. It's frivolous, it's stupid, but I really enjoy it. At least it's escapism. So that's why I feel like I don't have enough focus on important things that are important to me, because I'm enjoying myself. For once, I can throw the stress away and throw my daily life away and actually get into Tibet, which is the world of Genshin Impact, just for a few hours. So people might look down on games, and people might criticize gacha games because it's not cheap to play, but it's technically free. Any money I give is because I feel like I want to. I feel like I want to give back to these developers, and I really appreciate the game, the amazing game that they can actually take me away for a few hours a day or every weekend. So thank you so much for watching to the end. I really appreciate you watching to the end. All this rambling and all this nonsense, to be honest, sometimes I feel. I really appreciate every one of you. And if you enjoy my ramblings, if you enjoy this, leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great rest of the day. You take care. Bye.